Life flows on the river of purpose. We're all carried by the uncertainty of its own unfolding. Chasing purpose is all about nurturing faith, setting intentions, pursuing aspirations, all while living boldly. Chasing Purpose aims to inspire, uplift, and empower people through real-life stories. Stories that encapsulate life's memorable moments and enduring life lessons. Chasing Purpose with host Cynthia Shea.
It's the middle of the week, a Wednesday, I believe, and I was feeling super tired and drained. I was driving my daughter Jade to gymnastics and just felt mashed up and popped down. I even said to her, Mommy's gonna close her eyes a bit. Now I make it my business to be present while she's in class. So I went into the car and I nodded off. My phone rings and I jump up like, oh my God, why do I feel like this? I'm sitting in the car trying to rationalize it with myself. Cynthia Shea, it's the middle of the week, it's 2 p.m., maybe 3 p.m. At no point should you be feeling this tired, this lethargic. My entire body, my thought process, my mental space, and everything just felt tired. You have a long list of things to do. It's just January. What do you do? Why are you so tired? And something said to me, just rest. Wait, this is me talking to myself again, What do you mean rest? What do you mean I have so much to be done? I can't rest. I have to keep going. Later on that same day, as I'm scrolling through my Instagram timeline, tonight's guest, Lisandra Rickards of Soul Career, was talking about this very thing, rest. God gives us many promises, but as Lisandra was speaking, this verse came to mind. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That's Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Here I go talking to myself again. See, Cynthia Shea, don't be too hard on yourself. Many of us are lost on our journey of purpose. Many of us, like me, are just plain tired. Let me drop a gem for you right now. Yes, it's January morning. Yes, it's the start of a whole new year. Yes, the to-do list is 1,000,000 miles long. Yes, it's the time of year when we're supposed to be fired up, setting goals, writing our visions, looking for the new job, or getting back into exercising, or whatever it is that you seem to do or need to do. If you are tired, if you're feeling burdened, stressed, or burnt out, no matter what time of the year it is, rest. On last week's show, the amazing Catherine Goodall joined us as we spoke about the appointed time. Here's Kathy's purpose pull.
We always think that things happen in our time. And the truth is, and I have learned that God's timing is perfect, even when we don't see it coming.
Thank you, Kathy. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chasing Purpose with Cynthia Shea Clark. You can find Catherine's episode and all of our other Chasing Purpose episodes right there. Welcome to Chasing Purpose, a space where we nurture faith, set intentions, pursue aspirations, all while living boldly. Chasing Purpose is a journey of self-development, self-love, healing, and spirituality. And our aim each and every week is to empower, inspire, and uplift you with our thought-provoking conversations. Our guest tonight is co-founder and CEO of Soul Career, Lisandra Rickards. And before I start, please, guys, get your journals, get your glass of wine or whatever it is you're going to drink, because gems will be dropped. Lisandra, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to Chasing Purpose. Lisandra and I were speaking off camera. And really quick, let me just tell you guys a quick backstory.
Wait, Sin, how I never get the applause and the big up the way Miss Kitty got. I need some of that too.
No, it's true. Come guys, come on. I
need some of that too.
Oh God.
That intro is too.
1, 2, 3. Yay!
Thank you. That intro boring bad.
No, listen, let me tell you guys really quickly. I like to speak to our guests before they come on air, just to kind of get a feel of energy, so on and so forth. So I WhatsApped Miss Rickards.
On a Friday.
On a Friday. It was a Friday evening. Yes, it was a Friday evening. And I believe like maybe Saturday I think it was Saturday. I get a message back to say, hey, I don't work on Saturdays. And I was like,
I said it nicer than that. I was
yes, but my edges were snatched. Okay, Lisandra. But saying all that to say, and I said this to you when we were talking off camera, right? And you said to me, boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries. We're talking about rest tonight. However, just getting that response, I was like, yes, Cynthia, it's a Saturday. Yeah. Why are you not resting?
Yeah.
Why are you not just kind of being? And you were giving me the metrics and the science behind maybe why that is.
Yeah.
But tonight we're talking about rest. Mm-hmm. Again, as I said, when I was doing my research for the show, just again, God, as I was thumbing through, mind you, proper mashup earlier in the day, but you were just talking about, and I think I just started to follow you on IG too. So when it kind of all worked out that, rest.
Yeah.
I needed to rest. So let's start there. What is rest?
Yes. So the story that I have around rest is I suffer from chronic burnout, which is one of the reasons I have those boundaries on the weekend, because I'm one of those people naturally who will just work without stopping. And so I've had to learn how to schedule breaks and rest throughout my day, on the weekends, schedule vacations, and I have to keep them holy. I have to keep the sanctity of my rest in order for me to run the marathon that is my life and my career, because it's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon. And so for me, there are many different types of rest. There is, of course, the physical rest, when you feel physically exhausted, like you did at your daughter's gymnastics class, right? But then there is rest that is more spiritual. There is social rest. Some people need a break from all the talk all the time. That's or more introverted. For me, I need to scheduling time with my friends and my family to talk more outside of my work mode. So that's a kind of rest from work for me. Then we have creative rest. We need to turn our brains off from the doing in order to be creative and feel inspired so that we can get back at full 100 into our day. And then the last one I'll talk about is the screen rest. That screen time, the technology. That's one of the reasons I said I can't talk to you on Saturday or Sunday, because I just don't want to open any screen to read anything. I just wanted a complete break from that life and go to the beach and go to the mountains and just take a break from that normal part of my life.
So first of all, already, I'm learning now there's multiple types of rest.
Definitely.
In my mind, it's just, no, you just go home, kind of just turn off and that's it. No, but and for me, the one that spoke the most or jumped out to me was the creative rest. I find as a creative, especially because we're now running a business, the business is new, my creative side is kind of it's not to me, it seems non-existent.
Yeah.
And maybe I now need to creatively rest or schedule in that time and do whatever that is. But you also spoke about burnout. Burnout is something I don't believe I'm experiencing burnout, but burnout is something that we really need, especially as entrepreneurs. And forget entrepreneurs, forget labels. People have experienced burnout.
Yes,
right.
Everywhere.
And you say you experienced chronic burnout. Who even knew chronic burnout was a thing? You know, how does one identify this burnout? How do we push past this burnout?
Yes. So let's start with identifying it first. When you go to sleep and you wake up and you're still tired, you know you're burned out, right? Because when you're burned out, it's not just about getting enough sleep. It's not just about that. And so you have to understand what part of my life is not being served, why I feel so drained. And usually for me, it's the social people part of life. It may be that you need to work out more, all those other things that we talked about. And then the second part of that is, how do we push past the burnout, right? So that's something that I often used to say to myself, how do I push through and just get things done? Push through. And I had to stop and train myself to stop. Actually, what I need to do right now is not push through. I need to just stop for a minute. So at 2 p.m. usually I'm drained, that my brain can't function anymore. So I just need to stop for a minute, make some tea, go for a little walk in my complex, just play a game to get my mind completely off of what it was on before and start over again fresh, something. Just give myself a break and don't schedule every single second of the day, which is my normal thing, right? I have to schedule breaks throughout my day in order to push through. So pushing through for me means stopping, just stopping for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or stopping for 2 weeks. I didn't work the last 2 weeks of December. I scheduled that in from January last year, right? Because I know that it's important for me to start 2022 fresh. So last 2 weeks of December, I don't work.
So Lisandra,
yes,
we shared off camera, we were talking off camera about you going through a burnout that really was tough for you. Can you share that with us?
Well, the very first time I burned out was actually in high school in Jamaica after CXC, right? So you go through the pressure of CXC, and then when I came back for sixth form, my teacher noticed that I just didn't have the same energy. I was kind of listless, and she's like, what's going on? And I just felt tired. No matter how much sleep I got, I felt tired. But my biggest episode of burnout came in college and then business school. This is why I describe myself as having chronic burnout, because there have been successive periods of it that I remember where I just felt so depleted I couldn't do anything. So first time in college, I had a very rigorous program. I went to the University of Chicago and I was in the economics program on the PhD track, which meant honors econometrics, honors statistics, analysis in RN, which is reproving mathematical theorems. That's the kind of brain work I was doing. I don't remember none of that. I've purged it from my mind, so don't ask me about any of that. But I was also a research assistant for a famous economist at the time while I was doing that. So I was doing a lot of data crunching, regressions, while heavy workload at school. And I just couldn't manage it, and I burned out completely. And one of the things I did in college was I actually took a year off. I did a study abroad program. It wasn't a year off, it was a study abroad in Spain for my whole junior year. Fun. I lived in Seville, and that was creative rest, physical rest, every type of rest. Spain is my soul country, apart from Jamaica, of course.
Well, Jamaica's birthplace.
Yes, exactly.
So you can have Spain as your soul country because it's Jamaica's birth.
So Spain has so much, like it has the architecture, the art, the flamenco, the food, the people are very social. And so it's where I really understood who I was at my core, what made me come alive. It wasn't this numbers, quant, brain work. That wasn't who I really was. I was an extrovert. I like to party. I like to dance. I like to eat good food. So I remembered that side of myself in Spain, and then I really tried to recapture that, make different decisions so that I could live that real self more, starting from even in college.
So let me ask you this. Not many people would have had the opportunity to have the study abroad in somewhere such as awesome and beautiful as Spain. What is somebody that doesn't have that opportunity? What do they do?
Ooh, hard one. For me, travel is so important. The key is to get out of the routine, put yourself outside of your comfort zone, put yourself in a new environment, and try to understand who you are outside of the regular routine. Because it happened again in business school. In the summer in between the 2 years in business school, I got a summer job as a management consultant at Bain & Company in New York City. That's a top 3 management consulting firm in the world. And I was put in the private equity group. Again, heavy quant, right? So I was doing a lot of due diligence. We had a hedge fund partner that was buying up distressed assets during the global financial crisis. So let me not get too technical in the finance world, but again, I was working from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. every day, nonstop. People on my team were sleeping under their tables, under their desks at work to get up early and work the next morning. So again, I burned out bad. That was the worst case of burnout I've ever had in my life. And the second year of business school, I hit this existential crisis because of what I did in summer, which was, what is it all for? Why am I working like this? what is my life? Is the rest of my life just going to be like this?
Right.
So when you reach that point where everything feels meaningless, that is like the depths of burnout, right? So you have to catch yourself before you reach there. So when you start feeling tired, you take the break so that you don't get to that point. Because once you get to that point, it's very hard. It's a long journey to come back
to where you need to be.
So because of that feeling of everything is pointless, when I graduated from HBS, that's Harvard Business School, I decided to just come back to Jamaica to just figure out who I was and what I wanted, and to just, I couldn't keep going once I hit that point.
All right. Went to the University of Chicago.
Yeah.
Harvard Business School.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Now, these are things that people aspire.
Yes.
But when it was all said and done, you had to come back home to
Rest.
figure out, rest, and figure out like what next.
Yeah. Really to rest, that was the main thing. I was so soul tired, right? So yes, you reach the pinnacle, you reach private equity group in New York City. If I had stayed on that path, I would have been making 400, 500K a year base salary 2 years out of business school.
Again, that's an aspiration that people pursue.
So I reached that point and I was like, this is everybody else's dream, but this is not my dream for myself. I feel like a zombie in this dream that I'm living. I'm living in somebody else's dream. I'm not living in this. That's not my dream. So even with the money and the this and the that, I couldn't keep going. I had to stop, take all the 7 forms of rest and figure out, okay, what is my dream for myself?
Wow.
How do I want to make money for myself that I can sustain? Because if I keep working like this, I'm going to end up in the hospital.
Yes, of course. Right. And how many people do we know or not know that end up in the hospital thinking, not realizing that it's because they've burnt themselves out, because we're chasing the dollar. And I know we spoke about off camera. We had a whole long conversation off camera about purpose versus finances, or chasing that paycheck versus chasing really what's in your soul.
Yeah.
And I think this is where Soul Career maybe came in.
Yes.
Which, by the way, brilliant name for your business. At no point would I even think that you can even correlate your career and your soul.
Yeah.
Because for me, now that has changed, again, my growth, when you think about a career, you're thinking about money.
Exactly.
How much money am I going to make?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. But no, now we have to. We're forced to think about, how is this serving? How is this filling me?
Yes.
And you are a prime example.
Yes. So the trajectory that I was on, a lot of people dream about that trajectory because there's a lot of money involved in that trajectory. But you get to a point, and all of us that were on that path get to this point where we have to choose between whether chasing money is worth our mental health and then our physical health. Because after you reach the existential crisis, if you keep pushing past that, you end up in a hospital. Yeah. You get all those illnesses and so on, right? So you reach that point, and many parents, when they see their kids are doing well in school, they push their kids in that path, right? Because they want you to be financially successful. So what we talked about before we started the show, off camera, was that piece of it, you cannot discount how important the money part is. So for me, I can't coach my clients and say, forget about the money, just follow your passion. No, you can't forget about the money. The money is life, right? So the question is, how do you make money doing something that you can sustain over the long haul, which is something that you enjoy enough to do it for years and decades of your life, while not running yourself into the ground and getting sick. So we need to hit all 3 of those things for us to have a soul career.
Soul career.
Because often your passion make you broke, So soul career is not broke passion.
And that is where this term starving artist probably was coined, right? Because, whether you're a painter or whatever it is, you're not making the money because we're not, and we spoke about this off camera. How can we identify what our purpose is, what our passion is, but make sure that the dollar business behind it.
Yes.
The business, and I think that's another thing that we're not learning, or we're now having to relearn is, I can be an entrepreneur, or I can be whatever in the artist field, but what is the business behind it so the dollar figure can match what the passion is?
Right, exactly.
Passion is not a sole career. Okay. Let us talk about marrying our purpose and our passion with
the money. Yeah. So that's how we're different from other people that coach on strategy around your career and your life, because we don't forget about the money part. Given my whole journey, the money part, it's important, right? So we have a system at Soul Career through 3P system. Psychology first. You first have to understand who you really are, your personality type, and that will craft the direction that you need to go in your career. It will tell you a lot about your purpose, whether you want to accept or reject that, which we also talked about.
Yeah.
Then step 2 is positioning. How do you position yourself for the thing that you identified as the way you're going to craft your career? And step 3 is persistence. How do you manage yourself so that you can have a lengthy career without burning out? So this framework now, we then take your passion and we try to figure out the model of life and work that you're going to follow in order to make this passion financially and personally rewarding.
Right.
So I call it the model because you may feel a passion for fashion, which I saw on one of your previous episodes. So now we have to understand what are all the different ways that I could work in this area of fashion. I could show up to work every day and look beautiful and have a nice steady paycheck in a 9 to 5. I could host a TV show. I could become a fashion designer. So we look at all the different ways that you can pursue this interest area. And then we look at the lifestyle and the hours of work in each of those 3 areas. And we look at the money that people who are already in those areas are making. So we know fashion designer, most of them are broke. Are you willing to live that broke life until you make it big and you get acquired by Louis Vuitton or one big fashion house? Are you willing to do the struggle for years until you get there?
Struggle,
right?
Yes.
Because if you are, then fine. But you have to know what you're getting into on the money side. Okay, what about dressing amazing? Going and working for a company that's going to give you a steady paycheck, 6 figures, 5 figures, whatever you want, and you are required in that company to show up looking amazing every day. So there are many places that you can work that will require you to look amazing every day, and you can fulfill your passion through that. Or how about you host your own TV show and get sponsors? So let's create a sponsorship model to make being a TV host financially viable. And once we've mapped the model and we see where the money is coming from and the time it takes to get that money, then we can say, all right, let's press play on that strategy.
All right, so much was said. But all very important points to be made. A lot of us are trying to figure out what next. A lot of us they went to school, they got the degrees, they did everything mommy and daddy would have wanted them to do, or maybe what they thought, you know? And we're still not being served. We don't feel like we're fulfilling what we need to. Yeah, the dollars are great, the bank account is great, but I think it's very important to, as you said, match the dollar and the purpose.
Yeah.
I think if it is that we, you know, as we grow now, especially if we're raising youth, children in our lives, this is the way to show them. Yes, academics will always be important, but how do we identify that purpose? How do we ensure that we're identifying that passion and pushing them in that direction? In the work that you have been doing, do you think that we can actualize the purpose in youth?
Okay, there were many things that I wanted to say as you got to your question. So let me start with the money and the passion, important, but we can't leave out the personality, the underlying psychometrics of the individual, because you might have in your head an idea of what you think your purpose is or your passion is, but then the psychometrics might tell us something completely different. For example, I was never interested in being an entrepreneur while I was in all this school system. I wanted that steady paycheck. But then my psychometrics said that I'm very entrepreneurial. I need a lot of variety in my day. I cannot do the same thing over and over again, which is what's required of you when you're in a corporate setting. But I was like, forget that. I'm doing finance. That's what I've decided to do. Forget this foolishness. And in finance, I realized that you cannot forget who you are in your work.
In anything that
so
you
you
do.
have to start with the underlying psychometrics first and build your purpose on top of that. And it was only when I accepted that I need a lot of variety, a lot of I'm a natural teacher, a natural trainer. I need to incorporate these authentic elements of myself in the career that I choose. You can only be successful financially when you marry all three of these things. Okay, that's the first thing I wanted to say. Now to your question about the youth, young people. So the first thing I tell my friends who are parents is that whatever your child studies or does, they have to learn how to build things as well. The future of work is building.
Yes.
So whether you know how to build a piece of software, build a physical product like an engineer, build a company through studying business, you have to study one of those three things. Otherwise, you're not going to survive in the future of work. You're just going to be a cog in the wheel if you don't know how to build something. So us who are already out of school, we have to go and learn how to build things. Online courses, etc. You can't just say I'm an artist and you don't know how to make a business out of that art.
Correct.
You will not make the money if you think like that. You can't just say I'm a violinist, right? If you know how to code and you're a violinist, you are gonna make whole heap of money, right? But if you're just a violinist and you're at the whims of the orchestra, who can hire you, or having to become a celebrity yourself, or so the models, again, the models of life, the model of career, they can be very easy or very difficult depending on whether you learn how to build something or not.
All right, so we're talking about purpose and youth. As I was sharing off camera, that growing up in the stage in the years that I was growing up, going to high school, elementary, so on and so forth, they were training us or teaching us how to be administrative at that time of
in that school
in that system. But now, today, and the craziest thing is now, so 5th grade math, or grade 5 math, grade 5 is how they say it here in Jamaica, in the States is 5th grade. I can't do 5th grade math. This is where my daughter is right now. So I know, like I was going over math homework with her the other day, and I'm saying, so 1 + 1 is 2. But she's like, no, mommy, Miss says, and everything Miss say, our Bible, you know. Miss says I can't do it like this. But how they're doing it, you have to regroup and take apart, and they're raising these children now to be coders. Because the engineering and the building, the robotics, that is where the youth are going now. So that idea of man, you can have the passion, but learning to build something is spot on. Parents, gems are being dropped here. All right, so I wanted to talk about the psychometrics, and we were talking off camera about the, I think you said I was a ID or IJ?
ENFP.
I'm an ENFP. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I'm an ENFP. Talk to us about that.
Right, so psychometrics are the core of what we do at Soul Career, because when somebody tells you, this is what I love, this is what I want to do, this is my dream, and we need a basis to compare that to, because often what we found is that many people don't know themselves and what they really want and what would really make them happy. And the episode I watched with Miss Kitty, she actually said that. She's like, do you know what color you like? Do you know what food you like to eat, right? Remember that? And I completely agree with her, because the first question I ask when you come to me for a consultation is, what is your vision for your ideal perfect life? If you forget everything you've studied, everything you've done, and you could rebuild your life from scratch, what would that look like? And people blank, crickets, they don't know what to say, right? So the psychometrics helps us to answer that question. And the main one that everybody should do, because it's free online, is Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. You can take it for free at 16personalities.com. So I'm guessing that you are an ENFP, same as me. That's the most extroverted, nomadic personality type. They're the types that have many different interests. They go from one career to another, and they need to be sharing and talking and vibes and energy and social, right?
Like me.
Right. So before the Branson Center, I was the CEO of the Branson Center. Before I did that,
Don't brush over that. No. Let's not brush over that. She was the CEO of what?
The Richard Branson Center of Entrepreneurship.
Okay. That's a big deal, okay?
Before that, I had one job per year, every year of my career. I just jumped around. If I never like it, I had to switch it. So I know people who follow that path are ENFPs like me. Right, so we start with the psychometrics to say, okay, an ENFP needs a project-based career. They cannot stay in one thing, climbing the ladder. So let's look at careers that are project-based. Do you want to be a consultant? Do you want to be a podcaster? Do you want to be, like, these are the different models. Let's look at how much money each one of those paths make, and then let's take a decision on where you go from here based on your interest plus the model plus the money, and then we get to the soul career. So psychometrics are the ground, the foundation of all of that work.
All right, so remember the topic tonight is rest, but I mean there's so much nuggets and gems that Lisandra is bringing to the table. I'm completely off script, by the way. But I'm so intrigued. Again, at no point growing up did I think I could marry my soul
and your personality
and everything. This is new. This whole purpose thing, this is new for me. I am that extrovert. I'm all over the place. I have many loves, one of them being fashion. We'll get to that, guys. But yeah, it's late. I mean, had I known then what I know now, I believe, I would be further on. But nothing happens before its time. I believe that as well. But let's jump back to rest, right? Because right now, there's a mother of a million children at home, a dad who is trying to provide, a young lady who just broke up with her boyfriend and the job is just, there's somebody right now that's tired, and they don't think that they can find their soul career. They have no idea. Them head spin like one. They have no idea. What advice would you tell them now?
Yeah, number one is take a psychometrics test so that we can understand why you're tired first, right? So Myers-Briggs, which I just mentioned, is a free one, but there are many paid ones that are excellent. We actually use 4 different types of psychometrics in my company to get a 360-degree picture of who you are. But let's start with the free one, 16personalities.com. If you bring me those results,
we'll tag that. And
if you bring me those results, then I can understand why you're tired. Often, in the most burned out people, I see that they are in a job that is a complete opposite of their underlying personality, underlying just human nature and your strengths and what you naturally gravitate towards. So if you are an ENFP and you are an accountant, no amount of sleep is going to fix that, right?
Wow.
You have to marry your work. We spend the majority of our lives at work, right? So if your whole life is completely different from your human nature, your authentic personality, how are you going to recover from that? I can't give you any prescription to recover from that. We have to align who we are with the work and the money to be naturally energetic and alive and authentic, right?
Again.
So that's step one. Hold on, you asked me to give a prescription.
Okay.
So step one is understand your underlying psychometrics. Then step 2, okay, suppose you are already aligned with your job and your personality, but you're still tired. Then we can look at the other types of rest that you may need. You may need not to quit. Most people, when they get tired, they want to quit, right? You may just need a sabbatical. You may need to take 2 months off and come back. You may need to take 3 months off and come back. But then you have to have a conversation with your boss around, I need a sabbatical, and then you have to look at the bank account to see, can I afford a sabbatical?
Because explain to people what a sabbatical is.
So a sabbatical came from academia, actually, because professors take 3 months off every year from their work. Right? In the summer when all the kids are on vacation, the professors are too. And they usually use that time to do some deep research, to do something I would call creative in that context, etc. And then they come back to teaching again. So that's kind of the world that sabbaticals come off. Because everybody expects teachers to get summers off. It's not a new thing. It's like a normal way of that career. So now we're bringing that idea of a sabbatical, 3 months off of work, into traditional careers in the workplace, because We find that thought workers, people who use their minds a lot, their minds cannot just, we're not robots, we're human beings. So you can't just keep going with no stop, otherwise you end up sick or something else. So now we're starting to see this idea of giving thought workers some time off, some significant time off. It's starting to gain traction, especially in the US coming out of the pandemic. People who stayed home with their kids, homeschool plus work, they're tired, they're very tired. And if you try to squeeze the last mile of productivity out of that person, you're gonna lose them, they're gonna quit. That's why the great resignation is happening. People are quitting because they cannot take a break. So if you wanna keep your talented people, the new norm is gonna be giving them the ability to take a sabbatical every 3 years, every 4 years, just take 3 months off and come back refreshed when your mind is ready again for the job.
Very important, very important. Off camera, our lives are being got. So I'm just please check her out. Look over this episode because there's a lot of gems, a lot of great gems. Lisandra, are you chasing your purpose or have you found your purpose?
Oh, I think about this question a lot because I do a check-in with myself every year just to make sure that I'm still doing what I'm going to do. Because part of the comparison mind, right, is that I compare myself to my peers that I went to business school with, and I'm like, did I make the right choices? They're making so much more money than I am. Am I on the right track?
Remember they say comparison is the killer of all
Exactly.
dreams.
So I have to coach myself when I get into that mode and say, are they happier than I am, right? And am I doing the things to build wealth the way that I want to build wealth? And the answer to those questions is yes. I am now an entrepreneur. I love what I do. I love my clients. I have corporate clients, so I do this en masse, 50 people at a time, 300 people within organizations. I do it one-on-one with my individual clients. I build programs and courses out of this content, going a lot deeper into it, and so on. So I absolutely love what I'm doing, and the wealth is building. So even though the people that I went to business school with, they, one of them is a billionaire now, right?
Oh, all right.
Okay, so those are my peers, right? Even though I'm seeing that, I always bring it back to my core of who I am and knowing that I can get there my way, which is a healthy way.
In time,
Exactly, in my time. And I have a model that I'm following very specifically. I'm very structured, very strategic, and I know that I will be in the millions and more.
Yes,
soon.
speak it, yes.
So the answer is yes, I am living my purpose. I'm not chasing my purpose. And there's one other thing I want to say before which is this question of chasing, which we talked about off camera, right? So there's a module in my program called Stop Chasing, Start Attracting.
Yes.
And it is about your energy, right? Okay. So the energy of chasing versus the energy of attracting. Burnout versus peace and rest and thoughtfulness and intention, right?
All things that we speak about here on chasing purpose or attracting purpose, but all things that are extremely critical on this journey of purpose, on finding this, whatever your purpose is, whatever your passion is, whatever your soul wants. That's what this is about, that's what this entire thing was built around, and why I'm sure you started Soul Career is because we want to actualize our not just actualize our passion, but understand that we can feed our soul with our passion and make sure that we're living, sustaining ourselves financially. That is very, very, very important.
So one is doing and one is being, right?
Doing and being.
So there's a part of purpose that is chasing. It is activity. But I'm trying to shift myself and everything we do at Soul Career from human doing to human being. And when we're being and knowing who we are and what we're about, and I know I'm going to be a millionaire. I already am. It's just time hasn't caught up to it yet, but I am, right? And then you start attracting the things that get you there without you having to chase so hard.
Where's my pot covers? Where's my, look here now. Look, tonight was so filling. Lisandra, thank you so much for joining us here on Chasing Purpose. Where can our audience find you?
So you can find me on soulcareer.com. We're mostly on Instagram. That's the main social media channel that we use. So at Soul Career or at Liz Rickards. If you message us on Instagram or LinkedIn, we will send you our link for a free consultation. Or you can just go on soulcareer.com. There's a big sign on the upper right. Click on free consultation and you get a half an hour with me or one of my amazing coaches. Like I just hired someone from Amazon and she's amazing.
Yes, awesome.
Yes, that's where we reach now. That's where we reach.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you. And we'll craft a strategy for you based on the results of your 16personalities.com profile and the things that you tell us. And we'll create a roadmap for you to get you from where you are now to where you want to be.
All right, tonight's purpose point of view or hashtag PPV is, do you believe that rest is essential for the mind, body, and soul?
Hey, Chasing Purpose people. Hi. All right. So I truly believe that rest is essential not only for the body, but for the mind. If you're tired, if you're exhausted, there's no way you can be your best, or there's no way you can do your best at anything. So you have to make sure that your body is well rested, you get enough sleep, because your body needs to be repaired internally, and that includes your mind as well, your brain. So if you don't get the rest you need, and you're exhausted, then you won't be able to repair, and then you won't be your best self. And we all know that if we're going to chase our purpose, we have to be fit and well rested.
Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That's Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. This is a reminder from God. Let us take heed when we feel the need to be still, when our beings are beckoning for a recharge. Our minds, our bodies, our souls require rest. It is essential. Thank you for joining us on Chasing Purpose. Sow seeds others will benefit from always. Wishing you love, light, and purpose.